Hello everyone, my name is Forrest here, and today I'm going to be giving you a brief storyline of Need for Speed Rivals, both good and bad sides. You're probably more than aware to know that Need for Speed Rivals isn't the only game that you can play only as a cop and racer. It's also in Hot Pursuit and Hot Pursuit 2. If you like this documentary after all, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and if you do that, a QR code will appear in a couple more seconds within the video. Anyways, let's get started. Let's get started with the cop career first. And let's please welcome our main protagonist of the cop career. Nobody knows. Quite literally, nobody knows. Going deeper in the iceberg, we find that the cop's name is John McManus, but that could be anyone. So for now, we'll go with David. After completing the tutorial and being accepted to the RCPD, we get this.
There are only two types of people driving this fast: cops and criminals. People accuse us of using excessive force because we put people in the wall every now and then. But we aren't looking for a fair fight. We have to win every single time we turn our lights on, or the public loses faith that we can defend them. The bottom line is that fear commands respect. And if you endanger the ungrateful masses we protect, we will come at you with everything we've got.
Now here the RCPD actually tells them what they've been doing and how to do it, otherwise it'll be met with a punishment. After hearing this, David has to complete set 3 speed lists in order to get talked to again. And after doing the 3 speed lists that he's supposed to do, they talk to him again.
After a video of a street racer was posted online, dozens of other racers have begun uploading copycat videos. It appears that what was once an anonymous underground sport is now become a sport of viral reality show, with racers embracing and even seeking out notoriety.
Perception is reality. Law and order only exists as long as the public believes it. Today, they believe it less than yesterday. They see racers defying the laws without consequence. And when the laws no longer have teeth, when they become polite suggestions, society breaks down. The public accuses us of intimidation. But the truth is that show of force is preferable to use of force. And when show of force isn't enough to maintain order, sometimes you have to settle for the real thing.
After David has been being talked to, he realizes that the world is getting more dangerous the less he tries, and the more he tries, it'll help him out a lot. Of course, it wasn't his fault though. People are accusing the police, the RCPD, of not trying hard enough to stop these racers and putting them in danger. Just note that this is when Zephyr was rising on the case. We'll get to that soon. But after doing a few more speed lists, he gets talked to again.
The mayor visited Officer John McManus today as he recovered from his injuries at Redview County Hospital. While street racing in Redview County has caused thousands of dollars in property damage, this is the first time it has crossed the line.
Newton's third law says that for each action, there must be an equal and opposite reaction. Force must always be met with force. And excessive force must be responded to accordingly. The racers have shown that they are willing to cross the line in their quest to disrupt society. We must be willing to do the same to protect it, to teach our enemies that it is they who are in danger.
While the mayor was recovering in hospital, racers have caused thousands of dollars of damage, and it becomes immediately from, oh, it's urgent, to a science class.
Newton's third law says that for each action, there must be an equal and opposite reaction.
Oh, and I'm pretty sure the market went up after this. All jokes aside, a couple more speed lists, and finally, he gets the message.
The Department of Justice has been called in to examine what is being called a culture of intimidation in the Redview County Police Force. In the precinct at the center of this scandal, all officers have been put on restricted duty while the investigation plays out. In the meantime, The FBI Vehicle Response Team, which is the nation's top interdiction unit, has been called in to secure the streets.
I am not you. I am the dirt under your nails. I am the sin you deny at confession. The public asks us to defend them, sanctioning whatever violence it takes. They use terms like necessary force to shelter themselves from the fact that they have sent us to beat, maim, and kill the people who do the same to them. Deep down, they know they need us, because everyone wants security, but only a few are willing to accept the price.
Here, David gets a message that all regular cop units have been shut down and VRT units are out on patrol now. After being told this message, all of his police cars were gone and all that was left is a Dodge Charger. As he's thinking to himself why all of his other police cars are gone, after going out on a ride in the Dodge Charger then coming back after a couple hours, they tell him this.
We tried to play by the rules. And where did that leave us? Chained up on the side of the road like dogs. Forced to watch as the racers mock us. We used to rely on strength and unity. A brotherhood bound by honor. Believing that in a just universe, justice would prevail. If we want to win, we need to play by a new set of rules. Our enemies operate outside the law. So too must we. We will infiltrate their world. Lone wolves in sheep's clothing. The police have confiscated many of their vehicles, which sit idle in the impound lot. Now, they will be our weapons of war. The racers will think we are their rivals. But now, we are the Reapers.
After David hears this news, the RCPD gives him a Ferrari Enzo to trick the other racers. Now here's the thing, he gets to kill 10 of them. Do you think that's enough? After slaughtering 10 racers, he goes back to the command post and the police tell him this.
The appearance of a street racer calling himself Fate has triggered an overnight explosion in street racer violence. FBI officials say they are struggling to cope with the new threat and have been forced to recall all police from restricted duty, effective immediately. The best of these drivers are being selected to join the ranks of the VRT, the FBI's Vehicle Response Team, in an attempt to restore order.
Welcome to VRT selection, candidate. There's a reason we don't take many cops in VRT. We're brought in when you fail. After us, there's no one else to call. We use cutting-edge methodologies to find, fix, and finish our targets. Cops see chaos and try to create order. We'll teach you to do the opposite. You'll create chaos for our enemies. You'll thrive on this chaos. You'll become addicted to it.
After hearing this, he knows now that all the police units, regular or not, will now be resumed back outside. However, a member of the VRT steps in and tells David other units outside of VRT are only brought in when they fail. After completing a few more missions flawlessly, VRT comes back and tells him this.
Seems you passed the test, candidate. Welcome to the nation's premier vehicle interdiction unit, the FBI Vehicle Response Team. Selection's an ongoing process, and every day we sharpen the blade. In the garage, you'll find your new equipment, entirely customized to you, and solely focused on getting the job done once and for all. The United States taxpayer is investing millions of dollars in you. We expect it to be money well spent.
After David gets promoted to VRT, he now has a wide selection of very, very fast vehicles to choose from. They let David go for many hours and days, if so. And after doing his missions, he goes back to the police station where the VRT is at, and the VRT tells him this.
We positively ID'd 3 known associates of Zephyr. They're using encrypted radios that ping whenever they communicate. The radios will show up on your map when in use, but you'll need to bust them while they're active. The radios are useless. If you can seize their comms, we can break their encryption and locate Zephyr.
Our goal was to disrupt the racer network. They thought teaming up would make them stronger. but in the end, it made them vulnerable. They drew strength from their anonymity, and we took it away. Like a pack of wolves, we herded them together to make them easier to pick off. Now it's time to move in for the kill.
David grows more powerful amongst the police in VRT, and he finally has one of the fastest cars in their apartment as of this time. After a few more hours of patrolling and busting racers on the spot, David and VRT meet up, and VRT tells David this.
Our techs have decrypted Zephyr's radio signal. Stand by while they patch us in.
Tonight, I call on all racers to band together to protect our way of life from our true enemies.
We triangulated his signal to a couple miles from your position before his comms went dark. You're the only asset we have with a shot at getting in there in time. Your assignment's simple. Get to Zephyr. End it. End it now.
Zephyr has questioned our authority, and now it's time to answer. Today, he will learn what happens when you wake the beast.
After David heard this, he immediately got back into his car and went to a hiding place to track Zephyr as he's speeding down the road. After seeing Zephyr, he speeds on ahead to bust him, and this is what happens next.
An officer from the FBI's vehicle response team remains in critical condition after a collision with the outlaw racer, Zephyr. While authorities will not release the name of the injured officer, our sources tell us the officer has already been terminated from the force for his reckless actions.
You are asleep. I am awake. I am unshackled. Free. I am the life I was too scared to live.
Just when it seems the racing epidemic is over, a new video has surfaced of the racer known as Fate, who has taken Zephyr's spot as the top racer in Redview County. In it, he issues a challenge to all racers.
I will make you faster. I will give you purpose. I will make you famous. I am your adversary. I am your opponent. I am your rival.
Now that we talked about the good side, or the cop side of this story, we will now talk about the racer side of the story, otherwise known as the technically bad side. This is where I think most people play at, and besides, you play as Zephyr in the main game.
Every man has his limit, and the only way to find it is to go past it. Racing is about challenging the boundaries of your fear, your nerves, and your skill. It's about strapping yourself into a machine that's sole purpose is to convert gasoline into adrenaline. And once you've done it, you never crave anything else.
This is where the story begins, and after hours of racing outside, Zephyr notices that the cops are trying to look for him harder and harder each and every time. However, this does not oppose to him as a threat, at least for now.
Underground racers have traditionally maintained a low profile in Redview County, but since a video of a racer outrunning a cop went viral last night, dozens of other racers have begun posting their videos as well. The district attorney has been very vocal on the subject, stating that law enforcement agencies will be investigating all street racing videos, and anyone they identify will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
They say Stockholm Syndrome is when victims begin to identify with their captors. When you begin to accept and even love the very people who oppress and abuse you. We are born free, resisting authority, daring to climb, to run, to defy the status quo. But then one day, we break.
As cops watch the racers' videos posted on the internet about street racing, etc., they notice that the street racers are illegally doing stuff and they're gonna pull them over or bust them for it. Unfortunately, the video trend is rising and the cops have nothing to do but to kill them. In that case, Zephyr could be in big danger.
The mayor took time out of his busy schedule today to visit Officer John McManus at Redview County Hospital, where he is receiving treatment for injuries sustained in the line of duty. According to a police spokesman, law enforcement will not stop until those responsible are brought to justice.
If there is one lesson the police should learn from this, it's that they can't keep up with us. Officer McManus pushed his limit, but ours was further. They say we endanger the public, but they are the ones who aren't in control. But they don't want the truth. They want revenge for a crime that was never committed. The police were our rivals. Now, they are our enemies.
Zephyr continuously fights back the cops as the mayor goes visit Officer McManus. As life gets tougher for Zephyr and his other friends, it wouldn't be much harder up until this point. Unfortunately, it got a whole lot harder, but not in the way you would expect.
Internal Affairs says it is expanding its investigation into excessive force accusations against members of the department, and the police chief announced he is suspending all patrols. In the meantime, the FBI's vehicle response team has been called in to secure the city until the police are cleared of wrongdoing.
Now we have a new enemy, the VRT. Ex-Special Forces and ex-Street Racers. They kinda carry a grudge. They don't play by the same rules the cops do. Their only purpose is to end you.
After VRT rolls in for battle against Zephyr, Zephyr fortunately wins against VRT somehow. I wonder how, player? After the VRT battle was cleared, Zephyr was safe, right?
The feds were sent in to make the streets safer, but they have only made them more dangerous. More dangerous for us, and more dangerous for the public caught in the crossfire. While many racers are throwing in the towel, a new batch just showed up. Their leader goes by the handle Fate. No one knows where he came from, but he's issued an open challenge to all racers. This town is now in the national spotlight, and the spotlight is where you make a name for yourself. Our rivals define us. They prove our place in the food chain. Fate wants to use me to define him. I will use him to define me.
At this point, Zephyr was almost going to lose ground to Fate. And it wouldn't be too long until Zephyr got his hands on one of many machines. But it wouldn't be exactly for racing.
The internet is buzzing tonight with newly released videos of a racer calling himself F8 or Fate, wreaking havoc on other street racers during a race. We all know street racing is a contact sport, but this level of racer-on-racer violence is unheard of.
They say Fate is a racer, but to those of us who have seen his shadow in our rear view, his tactics are unmistakable. There are those who drive for freedom, for release, and there are those who drive to release their aggression, to dominate. Fate isn't one of us. Fate is a cop. The police seek to corrupt us from the inside. If they are going to use our cars to send a message, we will use theirs. Tonight, I will wear the wolf's clothing.
Zephyr then uses his police car to take out other racers, including Fate, at least once. Zephyr was rising again, and fast. And if no one was there to stop them, he would become, if not one of the most challenged people in Redview County. A couple hours pass, and then he hears this news.
The public is outraged after learning that all officers have been cleared in the use of excessive force. While there have been some reports of civil unrest, increased law enforcement presence has prevented any. One racer in particular, codenamed Zephyr, has become viewed as a sort of Robin Hood character after stealing a police car and leading the cops on a massive chase.
This is bigger than racing now. We're sending a message, and people are listening.
Cops still try to arrest Zephyr as hard as they can, but fail to succeed, including if even the player was even arrested in that case. And for that, we will never know. But what we will know is that a couple hours or days later, Zephyr posts this video to all racers.
This is an open manifesto to all street racers. I am not your enemy. I am not a threat. I am your rival. I will make you drive harder. I will give you purpose. The police have called us a network of racers and classified us as an organized criminal enterprise. Until today, this was a lie. Until today, we were not organized and we were not a coordinated network of outlaws. But today, the lie becomes true.
Within the last hour, multiple news outlets received a video from a source claiming to be Zephyr. He says he is issuing an open challenge to all street racers and law enforcement. In the video, he has posted a map where racers and cops can settle their rivalry once and for all. While law enforcement is billing this as a declaration of war by the racing community, Zephyr claims it is, quote, the ultimate reality show.
The video gained enough attraction for the challenge to start, and it ended in a good ending, at least for the racers. But there was a sacrifice that had to be made during that.
We are coming to you with live footage from Redview County, where the racer known as Zephyr has just been involved in a horrific high-speed collision with local police units. Paramedics are making their way to the crash site as we speak, but from this vantage point, it's hard to picture anyone surviving a wreck like that.
I am the reality show. The 15 minutes you'll never have. They say speed kills, but if you aren't speeding, then you aren't living.
Sorry, lol! And, well, yeah, that's it. That's the entire storyline of Need for Speed Rivals. I mean, the video must be disappointing, right? I probably didn't put much effort into it anyways, but I did put effort into that QR code on the top right of the screen. Please get it. I know it's there. You can't lie to me. Get it, please, because I'm telling you, and you can't deny. Okay, but for real, we're trying to hit 200 subscribers, so hit that like button, subscribe, and if you will, turn on notifications as well if you want, and that'll be it for me. Goodbye for now.